Welcome, everyone. It is 5:15 on Monday, July 13th, 2020, and the Carroll City Council meeting is now in session. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please note everyone is in attendance. Thank you. And our first item this evening is the consent agenda, which is approval of the minutes of the June 22nd meeting. I better pull that over. Approval of bills and claims. And under licenses and permits, we have renewal of the Class B beer permit, including wine coolers with Sunday sales for Pizza Hut, and a new Class C liquor license with outdoor service for Hourglass. If there's no questions with regards to the consent agenda, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Seaman,
Yes.
Fleshner,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Kotz,
Yes.
Base.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. The first item, next item on the agenda is the oral requests and communications from the audience. And tonight is a CAADC update. And Shannon, if you would, please. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely, thanks for having me. Tonight I have several items on my agenda that I prepared. Did give you guys copies of some of these documents, just a little bit of background on the labor sheds. We do those through Iowa Workforce Development, and this is the first one of the new series that they're doing. What you've traditionally seen is an executive summary, like what you were handed, as well as about a 30-page document, and that has gone away. There's a dashboard now that's out. It's kind of just like a book. There's about 13 different sections, and within each section is several slides. So it covers everything, wage and occupation data. It includes some benefit data, lots of good things that are coming out of this. Important to note that all of the data was done through phone call survey prior to COVID. So our last update was received in 2016 before IWD changed their process. So I don't want to go through all of that data with you. That's a lot to take a look at, but wanted you all to have a copy so that you're very well informed on what all the state of both Carroll and Western Iowa Advantage's labor shed area documents look like. Within that, they've started doing some industry and occupational data, which is also new. So the four that we handed you are financial services, advanced manufacturing, warehousing, distribution, and the final one is biotechnology. These are the ones that IWD felt like were most applicable, so we want to make sure that you have copies of that available to you. Essentially, what we're taking a really good look at is commuting patterns, where the labor is coming from, who is willing to change employment, what education attainment is, and of course wages. Entry wages, what wages will make people move. As was stated, we know that prior to having all the changes come about with COVID, we had a pretty tight labor situation. We were really focused on wages in the area, and our competitors in the labor market. So all of that is, again, really good data. It's been pulled through workforce development, and any questions, definitely don't hesitate to get in touch with me, because there's a lot to look at there. Another thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit is kind of the surveying and the Best of Iowa process, where that's all at. As you recall, right away at the end of March, Iowa Economic Development Authority put out a survey. We did get that data back in May for Carroll County. Also in May, we had a second round of surveying go out that really is going to be impactful to this next level of incentive and programming information coming out. We did not receive the Carroll County data yet. We're on the list. But essentially, what we're doing with that second survey that the state put out was to help the task force put together by Governor Reynolds determine what the next phase of recovery funding needs to look like coming out of the state of Iowa. So if you've seen, there was an announcement of being on that task force, and we expect there will be a number of committees come out of that yet. Those have not been made. So we're really kind of learning and keeping our eyes open. The very first task force committee meeting, it took just over 3 hours a couple weeks back, and they've met a second time already. So it is gonna be hopefully fairly fast paced to get some of that funding rolled out, but we don't know quite what that's gonna look like yet, but that's kind of the update from the state of Iowa right now. The next round of surveying though is gonna be a little longer term. It's with the Best of Iowa. As you guys know, every other year we go out and survey 40 of our larger employers, our growth employers, and kind of find out the state of Carroll County from them. And this is done in conjunction with what the state does every year. This was our year to be doing those. We actually completed our very first the day that shutdowns were taking place. And so when we go back to that though, it's not just our prime and larger employers and exporters, it's including education, it's including retail. It's gonna be a lot more involved. The list that we got came from that BEST committee, which includes our utilities, the Iowa Economic Development Authority, and other partners. They tell us who it's important for us to see. All of them were on our list already, but like I said, we have several other sectors that we're gonna be getting into. All of that is taking place from July 1 through end of September. So very aggressive with our surveying. Each one that we do is about 2 hours worth of admin time for an hour of survey time. So our team's really getting into that just right now. I believe it was Thursday or Friday, we got our list for Carroll County. So we're really getting into that. Coming out of that, when we bring that data back and we have that report in aggregate for the county and the state as well, we'll be able to tell kind of where we're at, what adjustments we might need to make, and again, what kind of programming we need to look at through our partners.
Who determines that list?
That's that Best of Iowa committee, Mid-American, Alliant. There's kind of a key statewide committee that does that.
Okay.
I can certainly get you all the names. I can't name them all off right away, but typically it's our utility partners and IEBA that lead that effort.
Okay.
Also, as was mentioned throughout several newsletters and emails, Kimberly Tiefenthaler with the Small Business Development Center has taken up residence in our office. Initially, really to deal with COVID response, we were able to much more quickly address what business issues came in, talk down the hall instead of emailing back and forth. We have found that it's a good fit. So for right now, she's in our office several days a week, and we really don't plan to change that ongoing. We think it's really a good partnership to have her available. CADC does help fund her office every year, and it just really has been helpful. It's really been more exposure for her and for us as well. You know, businesses have learned that we can quickly reach out to partners and be handling all of that at once instead of having a series of meetings. Another document that we gave you guys, it is available electronically, but we just got it for FY19, is that retail trade analysis. Every year we try to distribute those as quickly as we can, and we did get those last week. A lot of good data in there. Again, it shows where we're at for taxable sales, how many firms we're seeing reporting in the city and the county is what I gave you, but several Carroll County communities get this report. We look at sales per firm, we compare ourselves to our peer communities, we take a look at where we're pulling all of our sales figures from and creating patterns again. So again, a whole lot of good data. This ends as of June 30th, 19, so we're about a year old there. Again, pre-COVID, but good data, a lot of good trend data. When you start to take a look in the back of the report, you can kind of see some of the gap. It's not a full gap analysis like we like to see, but you can start to look at different business groups and what those sales look like per capita. So again, a whole lot of good data for Jerry to study with his board at night. Just teasing. I think this is one report that we do always really look forward to and try to measure ourselves against. Again, as I mentioned, peer communities. It's good to know where you stand locally, but you have to have your eyes on what's going on external as well.
Do they give quarterly reports or are you just annual report?
This just comes from ISU on an annual basis. There is some raw data available at all times, but it hasn't gone through quite the level of analysis that ISU puts into it.
I was just curious what's happened in this last quarter.
I haven't seen a whole lot since earlier. You know, we heard those early projections about not being off nearly as much as we thought, but I haven't gotten anything out of them for a to our data as well, since we have been working through COVID, especially related to retail. There are a lot of tools out there. Some are big dollar investments, some not so much. But, essentially what we're always looking for are pieces that are an extension of our staff, things that we would have to reach out, pull data, analyze, and prepare reports on. So we have seen some tools that we're working with Western Iowa Advantage on. One of them really is market analysis for startup and existing businesses to take a look at, what's missing, what gaps can I fill, and how do I get there. Also taking a look at Esri data. Laverne, I believe at the Smart Conference, you took a look at that. And we have found a partnership that will allow that to be built right into our website. Not the people part of it, the people recruitment part, but just to have the data available all the time instead of having to have those reports pulled. We're doing some target industry updating. I firmly believe that while things aren't so awesome every day, things are kind of challenging, it's definitely not the time to let off the gas. So we've been working on our shovel-ready site projects to have industrial sites, commercial sites ready. We've updated all of our site and building inventory and been looking at our incentive and partnership opportunities on all of those. But we've also started to do some direct outreach. So with Western Iowa Advantage, updating those target industries, somewhat comparable to the reports that were with the labor shed, but sectors that we know we perform well in are things that we're starting to take a look at again. Otherwise, just really quickly, so you have a few minutes for questions, I touched a little bit on what's happening at the state level, but locally, we have got some opportunity too. While some businesses are very much challenged and working to move on from COVID and been very focused on that, also some of the tools that are coming down are great for investments long-term, for growth and stability, as well as some new markets. So Raccoon Valley is doing the loan guarantee program. I know Carroll had put some money out up front to help with businesses. Some of our other communities are taking a good look at those guarantees to do some lower interest loans for a 5-year term. But also, Region 12 Council of Governments has a direct allocation from the EDA. What we're looking at is some of our funding being 0% for businesses. There will also be some other tools that come out with that. But right now, today, they did transition some of their fundings for 10-year amortizations. The first 2 years are at 0%, and then they go to 2% for 8 years. So really attractive for gap funding for businesses that have projects underway. And like I said, that we know we have today. The other piece of it, we're waiting on approval from EDA. Otherwise, we're just really watching from the SBA. We saw the PPP extension. We also have the Main Street programming coming down. We've seen some initial looks at terms, but again, those are going to be strong partnerships with banks that really help to bring those dollars into the region. So that is really a quick rundown of some of the things that we're working on. With our website and some of our analytics, we're trying to keep a really, really close eye on what people are looking for on our website, where they're looking from. Our top 10 cities, one of them includes Minneapolis, and we've had a lot of hits from some of those larger metros within the Midwest region. So we're trying to keep a good eye and make sure we're updating our content appropriately, and certainly doing some outreach where we see some opportunities, whether it be businesses moving, transitions, etc. We try to kind of always keep our eyes open for that. So with that, I definitely want to allow time for questions if you have anything that you've been contemplating.
I'm ready for one.
You got one?
Yeah, I
Let's
do.
have it.
I'm looking at this right here, this form,
Yeah.
okay? And inside here, it says, this stands out to me, on the right-hand column, on the right page, most of those who are out commuting are working in Coon Rapids, Iowa. That's Carroll people working in Coon Rapids?
That is what IWD had told us. We actually
Okay.
had a webinar this morning on it and
Mhm.
questioned some of this data, but know that if you get on that dashboard on the website, it shows you exactly how many people were surveyed. So keep in mind, we had about a 10% completion rate for surveys, but
Okay.
you're exactly right. Out commute of those surveyed, about 13% were headed out.
Well, it says that most of the 748 people are working in Coon Rapids, which says that there's like 300 and some people living in, that seems a little astonishing to me. Are you saying that that data might not be,
I'm saying we've definitely had a question.
you have, okay.
Yeah, Ryan Murphy was on a call with us today. The other thing that I wanted a little bit more conversation on, if you look on the back section, where it says wages of available labor by industry, I kind of challenge that too. I feel like our manufacturing numbers, our professional service, and even transportation should have allowed enough data that we could disclose some of that, especially by hourly wages, maybe not salary. So we have pushed for a little clarification. Like I said, we've had these all come at us in the last couple weeks with the new format. So if we do have any updates, I'll certainly get that to Mike for further distribution.
It also shows in there, in that same section, Jerry's at 748 people live in Carroll and work elsewhere. That's just Carroll. Do you have comparable data to other cities to know if we're in the norm or out of the norm?
So they don't prepare it by peer community the way the retail does, but if you pull like the Western Iowa Advantage, we can compare regionally that way. Also, all of the cities that are completed are available on their site, so I don't necessarily go pull all of that and compile it like in this format, but yes. I guess what I'm saying is yes, it's available. I haven't put that all in the one
Okay.
format.
And how do we get that?
If you go to the IWV website, there's drop downs for cities and regions. So this is just the Carroll pattern, it's not a Carroll County report. So you can go into any city that you want, any region that you want, and they're all in there, just in the same format. Or you can also go into their Tableau dashboard and check that out.
Thanks.
I think you kind of touched on it briefly, and I was gonna ask you, we've been reaching out to maybe some of these disenfranchised businesses that we hear about in the news here and there that maybe look at Carroll or Iowa for a place to go to. I know some of the drawback is the labor, but so.
So right now, you'll see names, and when we see names, we definitely do some research that way. But in general, the timing for rural, whether it be business or people, I mean, COVID has pointed some things out. It's created some opportunities that maybe looked a little bit different. I think our sales pitch for Carroll certainly relates around our broadband infrastructure and what we have to offer that way. You know, the space that we've played in before, I think we've strengthened our position a little bit when it comes to some of those things. So yes, you're exactly right. We are able to do some independent outreach on our own through our CBN network that's located up in Minneapolis. We often get contacts that way. So we work with them on a weekly basis to talk about what opportunities there may be in connection we can.
Okay, thanks.
All right, anything else? Otherwise, you definitely know how to find me, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Thanks, Shannon. I appreciate your time. The next item on the agenda is a proclamation for the Parks and Recreation Month. And this states, whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including Carroll, and whereas parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally or physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas parks and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, and the attraction and retention of businesses. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and the City of Carroll recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources. And now therefore, I, Eric Jensen, do hereby proclaim July as Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Carroll. Yes, sir.
I don't, you didn't ask,
Oh, yeah, we can,
Oral
any other oral requests?
that are items not on the agenda. So I'll unmute the mics now for those.
Okay. Sorry about that. We did the proclamation, but if there are any oral requests and communications from the audience on items not on the agenda that are, have called in online? Let's get a little loud.
Apparently not, so just wanted to check with them.
Okay, thanks.
Muted.
All right. The next item on the agenda is the ordinances, under ordinances, Carroll City Ordinance, Chapter 69 Amendment. And Chief, I think you have to come up to this one here, sorry. Or, oh, yeah, that's fine. Well, as long as it
It'll
works.
make it easier for the TV if you.
Oh, that, go ahead when you're ready, Brad, please.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, this was a request that was brought to me from the Kemper Catholic Schools, and they are asking for a couple angled parking stalls to be removed on First Street between East and Clark. The main reason for it was for visibility issues, exiting their high school parking lot onto First Street, and also leaving East Street headed south onto First, going north off East Street onto First Street. I did attach a photo with those 3 spots that they're requesting removed, and they're highlighted in yellow. And I did meet with John Steffes, the president of the schools, and indicated they're gonna have some construction that's taking place, and that's kind of what prompted this to go about. We're gonna be doing some sidewalk repairs and some other items up there that need to be fixed before class resumes, and these items were brought up as issues to be corrected while they're working on that. As far as East and First, there's been no documented accidents there. The exiting of the high school parking lot, on the other hand, does have a few accidents that have been reported at that location. I would say it is a visibility issue with those 2 parking stalls there.
It's just those 3 that they want vacated?
Correct. We talked about
How
some
would you-
others, but they were happy with those ones being removed. It really should only affect themselves, as the only people that park there are students, staff, and visitors to the school for different activities they have going on.
Do you just paint the curb there, or how do we stop
I
that?
talked with Randy about it, and he indicated they would probably sign it due to snowfall and there being stalls there now, so that you'd prefer to have signage there showing no parking.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Chief? If not, I will need a motion to accept the first reading of the ordinance, chapter, change to chapter 6903, subsection 1 of the City of Carroll Code of Ordinances. You can also amend that too if somebody wants, if you want to waive all 3.
I would suggest probably waiving them only because they're the ones that are.
They're the ones
using
asking
the
for
parking
it.
Stalls, it doesn't
Yeah.
affect.
They're in
any
kind of a
neighbors
hurry
in the
too,
area.
so I'll make the motion to waive all. Yeah, okay.
So that's to
To waive
accept
all
the
three.
first and waive
Accept
all
the
3.
first, waive all 3.
Thank you. There's a first and a second. If there's no other, yeah, it was Haley, sorry. If there's no other questions, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Cots?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Thanks, Brad.
You need to adopt.
And then we need to adopt, yeah. We'll need a
I'd-
motion to
I'd
adopt.
Move to adopt the ordinance.
Second.
There's a motion and a second for the adoption of the ordinance. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Dirks?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted.
Thank you. And the next item is under resolutions. We will go to the fiscal year 1920 year-end transfers. And Laura, when you're ready, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Attached to your memo is a listing of each of the transfers for our fiscal year 20 that we just ended on June 30th. All these items were included in our fiscal 20 reestimated balances when we were preparing our fiscal 21 budget. I won't go through each one of them, but if somebody does have a question about something, just let me know. Most generally, what happens is there is a requirement, state code requirement that requires us to deposit the funds in one, or deposit the revenue in a particular fund, and then you can transfer it to another fund to pay for eligible expenses. After the resolution is a listing of our balances or of all of our funds and where I project that we're gonna end, barring I don't find anything else that needs to be reclassified. And I compared that to where we thought we were gonna end our fiscal year when we were preparing our fiscal 21 budget. I tried to note if there were differences, and if there was a large difference, what those differences were and why there was a difference. Most cases, projects just were not complete as in the end of June 30, where we had budgeted for them to be completed as of June 30. I would say overall, it looks like we ended our fiscal year very positive, stronger or higher balances than what we had estimated or re-estimated, and still working through the COVID-19 impact. It appears that we are sitting financially pretty stable. Does anybody have any questions about anything in particular?
So the slight deficit is just because of the lateness of the transfers? Is that-
Okay, so when you say deficit, are you?
That's what you had in here. The slight deficit of 275, does that have to do with the way that, the timing of the transfers?
No, it probably has to do with how we budget.
Okay.
Mayor and council, I just wanted, Laura took a little bit of thunder away from me, but that's okay. She can do that, she's the finance director, but I do wanna commend, staff overall. I think as we work through a lot of this COVID-19 things, we did pare back in a lot of different areas. We have not fully staffed, for example, a lot of our seasonal summer help. We've held off on filling various positions. And I think that has helped us weather a lot of the issues that we seen coming with COVID-19. And I think you look at certain areas like our general fund, for example, we ended up with actually a positive increase. And that's the one that we really worry about because that's our main day-to-day operating budget. Where we did see a slight deficit across all of our funds. Do keep in mind that we actually were budgeting for about a $3 million deficit spending because purposely we had planned to spend down some of our funds.
Yeah, okay.
And to end with a $200,000 deficit.
Yeah.
That still means that we've ended in a very strong position. So I'm really proud of the staff and how they stepped up and overall how we have fared through this COVID-19. And certainly there's going to be impacts as we move forward even beyond this. And we're going to give a little bit more of a financial bigger picture a little here probably about next 30 days. We'll have some information, work with the radio and the newspaper like we have in the past to really kind of detail that information. But I think bottom line, as you're looking at this, is kind of the first document showing our end of the year balances. The city really is in a strong position considering everything we've been going through the last 3-4 months now.
I really think that's a good idea to go to the press with this, just because there's a lot of uncertainty out there right now, and just let them know that we're doing okay.
Yep, and certain areas we have seen some declines, but overall we're doing pretty good.
Good. Is there an expectation that some of that may decline as more stuff comes in? As far as income wise, I mean, we've calculated out like the programs for the rec center and that sort of thing.
I mean,
To a
certainly
degree.
some of it we're just gonna have to see how
Yeah,
those program signups go
okay.
and how different revenues. I mean, right now that's just really hard to forecast.
It's such I think it's not like a huge amount. We're not talking millions of dollars.
No, we're certainly
Yeah.
not talking millions
Right.
of dollars, but I think if you look at, for example, rec center, leisure services, aquatic center and the golf course, overall, we had, planned for about a little bit of a, I mean, we had seen about a $200,000 decrease.
Decrease, yeah.
In reality, so we're seeing some hits.
Right, right.
I think we've lost audio. I think that's what the beat was. And I'm seeing at least one media person trying to talk to us. And obviously, we're not hearing them, so we're gonna have to pause for a second while we're
Okay.
trying to reconnect the audio.
Go ahead. Thanks, Mike.
Or do you wanna go to my office? So we'll have to do that step again.
5-minute water break.
Well, he looked that up, when he had mentioned the revenue on the sports programs, we didn't have the expenses either. We didn't buy
Right,
uniforms,
right.
balls, all those things, so some of that got offset.
So, while we're on it, what was the attendance like? I know you had a tournament there this weekend. Do you know how the turnout of participants was compared to, say, last year? Do you have any idea?
As far as the pool, or?
No, I'm talking about golf.
Golf?
You had a tournament there this weekend.
Yeah,
and just curious.
I don't know those numbers offhand. I know they had lower numbers, at sign-up time, but she does take, walk-ins that day. But overall, I mean, even like the pool numbers are way down, probably more than what we thought. We're seeing over 100 throughout the day to 200. Golf course.
You're seeing 100 to 200 people coming to the swimming pool?
Yeah, on good days.
Outdoor.
Yeah, on the outdoor aquatic
As
center.
opposed
On
to
real good days, yeah.
300 or 400 in the past? Yeah.
So I think generally you're seeing about 25% of our numbers that we would have had a year ago on a regular year. Golf course, we do have more members. People bought memberships early on, knowing that was the one activity they could kind of do as a family and be out there. Green fees is down. We, for a period of time when we had the social distancing, if Mike and I went out to golf together, normally we'd ride in a cart and it'd be $10 per nine. So it'd be 5 and 5. We still charge them just $5, and I take a cart, you take a cart for $5. So we did lose a little bit of revenue with that, but we just felt with the uncertainty of the economy and different things, we did do that.
There's a phone ringing somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the numbers, to me, I guess I was only thinking there'd probably be 50 show up at the swimming pool. But
Yeah, throughout a 7-8 hour day.
It's pretty busy there.
is it?
I drive by it almost.
I've gone by in the evenings, like the baseball game, or I've been down to the football field with Soren, and
Yeah.
I look up in the at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was 5-10 cars up there by the swimming pool. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's. But I think that's probably winding down though.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
A lot of kids in there yet.
is there?
Parents will come and pick them up.
Kids.
It's used pretty well. And, they're doing pretty good at social distancing there too.
Yeah.
You get your family clusters, but
Yeah.
otherwise, it seems to be looking okay.
Rec center weight room, they've done very well in there.
Yeah.
Social distancing.
Technology.
Yeah, it's okay. I think Laura's still in your office.
Yep, here she comes.
Uh-oh.
They need a
So-
walkie-talkie.
So what's in his office?
Probably something to do with the managing of the go-to-meeting.
Oh,
Probably on his own, on his
I thought that's what
piece
this
in
one
his
was
office.
for. Okay.
Maybe it's just to see if she can hear us.
Oh, that could be. She's sitting in there with it on, and Anybody have any good stories they can tell so we can keep the audio going?
Just for the record, you're on YouTube, you're just not on Good to Go To Meeting. You're
Oh.
also on cable access.
Okay. So it's the go-to meeting one that,
Freshen up a little or something, you're saying?
I'm just saying, if you wanna tell stories, just be careful.
I'm gonna get in trouble, more than normal.
We can never tell a story.
yeah, no, oh, there it beeped, so something maybe came back.
Yeah, you're good to go again.
Laura, how about now? Can you hear us now? If you can come back. You see Laura?
She's coming.
We do apologize, we had some audio difficulties with go-to meeting, so we did pause the meeting, but we'll start that again. We do apologize.
Thanks for going, Laura. Okay. All right. So if are there any other questions for Laura with regards to the transfers? I think I was about ready to switch that out anyway. If not, I'll need a motion to approve the attached resolution authorizing the fiscal year 2019-2020 transfers.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Base,
Yes.
Cots,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Fleshner,
Yes.
Dirks.
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Thank you.
Just wait, I don't know if it's working.
Okay, that's fine. Well, at least we're paused before the next one. It means you're up, Jack. I gotta open a public meeting, so just be just a second. Wait till they're- Sun was a little warm yesterday, or Saturday. Sun was kinda hot, and then that front came over, or something, it kinda cooled off a little bit. Guess we're back again?
I'm glad.
Anybody have any good jokes? So we gonna get some rain tomorrow, you think, or
No, like tomorrow afternoon.
tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah, good chance.
Oh, because it doesn't ever rain, Carol.
No.
Goes around.
You got all
Goes
these
all
big
around.
fans out here that blow the weather patterns away.
That's right.
What'd you say? What'd
All
you
these
say?
big fans out here that keep blowing the weather patterns away.
Somebody told me they read that it was the windmills.
That's what we're.
Yeah,
That's what she's referring to.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that-
those are the big
oh,
fans. Yeah,
Oh.
they turn
I
on
didn't
those
know
electric
much.
motors to,
I
you know,
thought
cool the
meant-
air, and
Okay,
it just blows all those storms
feel
away.
the
Yeah.
cold air of the fan here.
Oh.
It's like,
It's nice and cool in here.
yeah.
I went north this weekend and Sac City area is really dry.
Is it
Yeah, the corn is distressed.
distressed?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, how soon is it gonna take a hit, the grass?
Pass a little bit of it.
We do not
We
need
need rain
this
now.
right now.
Yeah.
Plenty of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Carroll is, I think I heard this morning on the radio, is a little under distress from moisture.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Carroll
nine,
is.
9
We're-
inches short.
9 inches short now.
Wow.
I had that funnel cloud went over Carroll. I think I had 24 drops of rain hit my deck.
Yeah. I had not much more than that.
Jeez.
Okay. Now you send it in here?
Was he doing the go-to meeting in here? There it beeped. The back? You can't see who's on here, can you? You have to, okay. Do we have to shut this one off? I was gonna try and be done by 6:15, but.
We're good.
Okay.
Got it? Thank you, Mike. All right, it is 5:56, and I'll open a public meeting, and this is from member of council with regards to plans and specifications, form of contract, and estimate of probable cost on the Graham Park Pickleball Complex, Graham 2020, and Jack, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you tonight is a plan specification, form of contract, opinion, and cost of the Graham Park Pickleball Court Complex. They have been filed by FEH Design. The plan specification, form of contract, and opinion costs are generally described as first, the plans. The plans detail new construction of 4 pickleball courts with an option of 2 additional courts with fencing around the perimeter of the courts. The specifications further detail the construction of the plans improvements. The form of contract is a standard contract IAI A101 document. The opinion of cost. Again, because we're down in 4 courts with additional 2 courts, the price has been broke up. For 4 courts, base bid $192,750 with an alternate bid of 2 additional courts of $86,337.50. Available funds for the project. Originally, council set aside $175,000 with debt proceeds of $175,500. With the money so far in the account, it's drawn interest of $4,871.54. 2 grants that total $37,250. Donations from Carroll Pickleball Association. I know it's $5,000, and if Rich Hartley was on the line, he might be able to add to that number. But I know last time they told me a definite number, it was $5,000. Expenses: FEH to design.
Unmuted.
FEH
You have to start over, sorry.
What?
from the beginning.
Yeah, from the very beginning.
Oh.
No one heard anything you said to that point.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Alright, plan specification, form of contract, and opinion costs for the pickleball complex have been filed by FEH. The plans further detail new construction of 4 pickleball courts with the option of 2 additional courts with fencing around the perimeter of the courts. And again, this is the new property on the west side of Graham Park that was donated to us just west of the current 6 tennis courts. Specifications further detail the construction of the planned improvements. Form of contract is the AIA document, A101. Opinion of cost, this one is a little bit different than what we did last time. Last time we went out to bid for 6 courts. This time it's a base bid of 4 courts. That price is $192,750. An alternate bid of 2 additional courts of $86,337.50. The available funds for the debt proceeds is $175,500. Interest on that money, since it's been set aside, is $4,800, just a little over $4,800. Grants, we received 2 grants to date of $37,250. Donations of $5,000. I know Rich Hartley, if he is on the line, he might be able to increase that number, but I know it's $5,000 for sure. The expenses, FEH, the engineer, the facility, $34,693.50, and just miscellaneous soil borings, all those other documents that we do when we do these type of projects, total $5,559.57. So total expenses to date, $40,253.07, leaving the funds available of $182,368.47. The plans will be available today, so the contractors can start reviewing them. Bid opening will be August 4th, and the bids will be before the city council at your August 10th, 2020 meeting. Is there any questions? Anything I can answer?
Jack, are there any other grants you're waiting for? And if so, to hear if we'd receive more grants?
Sure. I don't believe there's any other grants.
Okay, so 2 came in, that's it, you're thinking?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Again, I don't know if Rich is on the line. He might be able to add to that donation of the pickleball.
Sure.
they're all muted right now, so.
Okay. I thought he maybe said 10,000. Oh, they might have 10,000 available. But I know 5 for sure.
Are there any questions from the public? This is a public hearing, so this is
What I'll
open.
do first
the
is
public?
unmute the callers that have called in. So they're now unmuted, they can talk.
Hello, this is Rich Hartley.
Oh, Rich, go ahead. This is the mayor, so go ahead. If you have some information to add, that'd be fine, please. Thanks.
Hi. Well, first of all, thank you for all your consideration. We think there are probably some other grant opportunities. We were hampered with some grant writing because we didn't have current actual costs. But there are 4 or 5 that we identified. But one of the things that we needed when we were writing grants was a accurate cost. And when we were pursuing Northwest Park, that bid came in around 300,000, and so it wasn't accurate numbers that we could file some grants. We also think our membership, if this thing only comes in with a $10,000 difference, I think our membership that we have would certainly cover that additional cost with what we have in our checking account currently and what we could fundraise locally. Whatever the difference is, once the bids are out there or the bids are opened, we'll have an actual number that we can actually then pursue some other opportunities. I think there's some opportunities that some contractors are, could be very aggressive on their bids this time, just due to what's going on with the COVID. So we're very optimistic that, it should not exceed what FEH had projected. And we do have an opportunity to cover that difference.
Thanks, Rich. Are there any other comments from the public?
Yes, no, public, go ahead. Oh, wait, I got one. When you're done with the
Yeah,
public.
So if you are logged on through the webinar, you can unmute your mic individually. I cannot do that on our end. So if you do have comments, this would be the time to unmute your mic if you're logged in through the computer.
Not hearing more, then go ahead. Vern, you had a comment?
Yeah, once they get the actual construction cost and they're gonna file for those extra grants, do you know the turnaround time, if you get those grants or not, how long?
I'm not sure which grants. Some are, they meet 4 times a year. Some grants only meet once a year, and that could be 2 or 3 months from now. I know a lot of times if you're out to bid and you accept a bid and you've gone to construction, those don't necessarily favorable with grants because you showed it seems like you had the money to do it. Especially if it comes in, if we know we have this amount of money, the bids come in at that amount, it'll make it tougher on grants.
And are the bids, are those good for 60 days, 90 days? You know what?
Typically 30 days.
Oh, 30 days,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
So we could wait to accept a bid pending another grant if there was one.
I'd go back to Rich, which grants are you looking at? Can
Right.
you tell us what kind of time frame it is? A lot of times on the grants are due July 1, notification July 31st, September 1st.
So a little bit of my concern is right now, it sounds like the construction's going to be available pretty quickly this fall because they're getting caught. So now all of a sudden, we okay this, thinking some grants are gonna come through and then they don't. And we're already started with construction is my concern.
And remember, tonight's action's not taking action on
Right,
the
I
bid.
get that.
Yeah, it's just to get the,
Simply-
But to get the format for when we do in August,
in August, then that's a very valid question and
be nice
statement, I think.
be nice to know that answer before August.
Okay. I'll work with Rich and get what grants and look at the deadline when they're due, when they notify you.
Well, and the amount.
And
I mean,
amounts,
when
yeah.
you look at 37,250 in grants, 2 grants, if that's kind of an indication of the amount the grants are worth, it's not gonna, we can't depend on the grants for a whole
Right.
lot more. It would be helpful,
Right.
but
If there's some big boys
If-
out there, it makes a difference.
yeah, that's what, yeah, if they're big ones, fine, but if he would let us know what type of, what the amounts you're asking for.
Which ones that he's
Yeah.
considering?
And some are last money in.
How much,
you know, Yeah.
And if you get a bid around $200,000, they had the 37.5, probably the 10,000, so they're gonna be about 25% of the project.
Okay.
Are there any other questions from the public? If not, it is 6:07, and we'll close the public hearing. Are there any other questions for Jack from the council? If not, I will need a motion to approve the resolution adopting the plan, specifications, form of contract, and opinion of cost for the pickleball court complex, Grand Park 2020.
So moved?
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Did you get those? If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Base?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Thank you. Thanks, Jack. The next item under resolutions is the 224 North Main Street site demolition and disposal. And Mike, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. After acquiring the property at 224 North Main Street, the city's been working towards demolishing the building itself. Asbestos removal was now completed back in June, and so we're ready to move to the next phase where we actually demolish the building itself. On July 7th, 2020, bids for the site demolition and disposal of the property at 224 North Main Street were received, opened, and tabulated. The city received 7 bids for the proposed demolition. The low bid was received from Templeton Family Farms, the amount of $71,250. A detailed summary of the bids were received were included in the staff report. Unless there are questions, staff would recommend the mayor and council consider awarding the property to Templeton Family Farms for the site demolition and disposal for property at 224 North Main Street in the amount of $71,250. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the council may have this evening.
Did they give you a time frame about when they'd be starting? Do you know?
We have not talked about a time frame on when they're planning to start. The bid documents required 60 days from.
60 days from the acceptance of what,
from the
okay.
acceptance. So we would expect pretty quickly. And they have already provided a lot of the documentation for permitting and
Okay. Insurance and all that stuff.
insurance and all that already. So they're getting everything ready to
Do we have to cover insurance for any of this, or is that just strictly them,
go.
their business?
Yeah, so they have to provide a certificate of insurance. I mean, I'm sure that was factored into the bid price itself.
But we don't, the city doesn't have to
But
do
the
it.
city does not take additional insurance.
Okay. Any other questions for Mike? If not, I need a motion to award the contract to Templeton Family Farms for the site demolition and disposal for property at 224 North Main Street in the amount of $71,250.
So moved.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. There's no other discussion. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Dirks?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Thank you. Is Chief on the
I'll be
line?
taking that.
You're gonna take, oh, sorry, okay. The first item under reports is the fire station EIFS repair and repainting. Mike, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. City staff noticed that this past year that the exterior insulation finishing system, or EFIS, had begun to show deterioration above the apparatus bays at the fire station. Due to this, city staff planned and budgeted for replacement and repair of the EFIS material, and included $23,200 in this year's budget for the project. On June 25th of this year, the city of Carroll solicited bids for EFIS repair and repainting of the fire station. The cost of this project, since it was expected to be above $10,000, we did solicit bids directly from 3 painting companies and also posted notice on our website. Bids received by the fire chief at his office here at City Hall, and the city only received one bid for the project from K&D Painting of Carroll in the amount of $22,200. This is within our planned budget for the project. So staff's recommendation is the mayor and council consider and approve the fire station repair and repainting project with K&D Painting of Carroll at their bid price of $22,200. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the council has this evening.
How did you base the estimate of paint cost?
I know Chief Schreck worked with a number of contractors and
Okay.
kind of visited with I know Eva's repair company out of Denison, I think, which is a sub of this painter to do some of that work.
Okay.
So it was really in consultation with people within the trade.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mike? If not, I need a motion to approve the fire station repair and repainting project to K&D Painting of Carroll at their bid price of $22,200.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. There's no other discussion. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Haley,
Yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Base,
Yes.
Cots,
Yes.
Fleshner,
Yes.
Seaman.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the water distribution main replacements 2020 and work change directives. And Randy, thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. As the water distribution main project got started, the Union Pacific Railroad requirements were formalized, and also the contractor reviewed the entire project and proposed some alternate construction methods. These two items have been rolled into what's called the Work Directive Change, numbers 1 and 2. Those work directive changes are usually authorized administratively, but because this one is large, number 1 is a large dollar amount, and number 2 is a significant change in construction method, we thought it best to bring it to your table before it would proceed or not proceed with it. But in summary, the work directive change number 1 includes the UP Railroad requirements that weren't included in the original bid. They did require the use of ductile iron pipe within the railroad right-of-way. Originally bid as polyvinyl chloride pipe, PVC. So the contractor has provided a price for that change, plus the contractor has proposed to directionally bore practically all of the pipe in the UP Railroad right-of-way. A little bit of difference in price, but probably a quicker project is what we would anticipate. That pipe location is actually parallels the southern edge of the UP right-of-way between Crawford Street and Carroll Street. So 2 blocks in there, not crossing the tracks, just laying in railroad right-of-way. The net difference that the contractor proposed was $33,786. The work directive change number 2 was a proposal of the contractor. The project was originally bid to be primarily open-cut construction in all of those residential neighborhoods. Contractor has proposed to bore practically everything in those neighborhoods. I've included a tabulation in your memorandum that includes the difference, and it's obvious that his proposal is practically all boring in the neighborhoods. And he did that to try to minimize the disruption to the adjacent properties. Now, there will still be disruption because every service has to be reconnected. So every house on both sides of the street will be dug up. But it does eliminate the digging for the main itself. his proposal for this work directive change number 2 is no increase in the total contract cost as a result of this boring proposal. As boring happens, there will be savings in pavement replacement and other bid items like that. Be several driveways that won't be replaced that were originally planned to be. The contractor has proposed to be, even though he does not replace those drives, to be paid that dollar amount to support his boring cost. Otherwise, the linear foot cost of the boring he proposed, he's left the same as open cut installation. It's kind of a convoluted deal, but the bottom line is that as a result of this work directive change, number 2, there would be no increase in the cost of the contract. That's the proposal. I've also included the effect of these 2 work directive changes on the contract. Brings it from the bid price of $797,071 to $857,857. So unless there are any questions, we would recommend your consideration of authorization of these 2 work directive changes. The first in the amount of $33,786, and the second a no-cost work directive change.
So Randy, with work directive number 1, I mean, do we really have any other course that we can do there? If UP is demanding, that's what we do. Do we have any other course of action to?
Against UP?
Yeah.
No. We sure looked at not putting it in the UP right of way. You know, the costs are high. It's this cost plus when you approve the UP agreement, there was a $22,800 fee for it. Plus we have to hire a third-party inspector and a third-party flagger during work time on the UP Railroad property. So in looking at this route along the area from Crawford to Carroll, there isn't much alternative. There's areas where houses are right practically up against the UP track and you can't get between houses. It's the lesser of all evils, I guess, is placing it in the UP right of way.
So then there's connectors that will connect the PVC pipe to the ductile iron so it stays fluent?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there'll be PVC used in city right of way, and then it'll be connected to the ductile iron.
Why would they want ductile iron instead of PVC? Do you have any idea?
I would guess their specification criteria probably goes back to strength, and they haven't explained it, but more likely I would anticipate their reasoning is mostly for track crossings, where they require a higher strength pipe in a track crossing. And we're parallel to the tracks. There's no crossings.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Apparently, it doesn't make any difference.
Doesn't make any difference.
Their uniform rule is ductile iron in their property. So.
Randy, would we anticipate any issues with the ductile iron, or it's a more expensive product? Is it a more reliable product? Will we have issues servicing it later?
It is a good product, but we can look at some of the history we've had. Of course, certainly ductile iron pipe has served the city of Carroll very well. Very few problems with it, except along the railroad. And would that happen with this ductile iron? Possibly. That ductile iron is subject to attack by the elements in cinders. And of course, the tract properties are just loaded with cinders from the days when coal was burned to run trains, and they just shoveled the cinders out onto the right-of-way. So they are not a good bedding for ductile iron pipe. This will be wrapped, double wrapped actually, with plastic as it's installed. So all precautions are being taken, but that's just the facts, that ductile iron is subject to attack by the cinder environment.
Would we have any reason to believe that the PVC we'd originally quoted would be a superior product?
Well, in this case, you know, there could be a school of thought that would say it would more likely not be attacked by, it isn't, it's inert to cinders. But, you know, we're at the mercy of the railroad, and their rule is ductile iron in the right of way.
Well, I appreciate your explanation too, Randy. I had not realized that the pipe was going to be covered in, what did you say, plastic? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
it's,
good to know as well.
Sure, yeah, all precautions will be taken to do the best we can to protect that pipe.
That's a concern I was thinking of.
Yeah.
You got that exposed ductile iron in the soil, but if it's wrapped in plastic, then. So do you think future projects like this, we're gonna have boring instead of open cut?
Well, this successful contractor has recently acquired boring capabilities in-house. And they, you know, they're anxious to use it and try to demonstrate that they can save money and save time by doing it. So it's possible. You know, not all contractors are in that position. In fact, last year, this contractor wasn't in that position, but he now is, and it's probably worth a try. We've built miles of water main through residential neighborhoods, and they're just war zones, you know, by all the digging that's going on. If this is successful, it would be really something to look hard at continuing.
Yeah, there's the High Ridge, just, you know, that, when I was talking to Mike about it, I was just thinking of High Ridge and what all transpired along there. I think everybody was happy, but by the time the project's over with, everybody's ready to be able to pull back into their driveway.
Sure,
So
it is destroy a neighborhood during
Yeah.
construction. I mean, with the equipment and men and, you know,
Yeah.
pipe and you name it. So, but once you get through it, they're good projects.
So in the future, would you expect a company that has this type of equipment, the boring equipment, would be able to bid lower in the future or be more competitive than someone who does not have that? Or is it a more expensive?
Well, boring is usually more expensive.
Okay,
But what they're saying to us now is, we'll put it in, we'll bore it in for the same price.
Right.
So it might in the future, if the contract were structured to bid it, either boring or open cut,
right.
may get a more competitive bid. Mhm.
But our contract with this, I think, had all the concrete replacement in it that we're not gonna have to do now, correct?
Right, but
Yeah.
that's the trade-off.
That's the trade-off. No,
Paid
yeah.
Paid for
Right.
that anyway, and it'll be a little bit convoluted, because
Yeah,
we'll keep track of payment for concrete and then payment for unit price on boring. And that, you know, certainly the bottom line is respected, that the contract doesn't go up as a result of this.
Right,
It
right.
remains the same
Right.
dollar amount.
okay.
I would
To your
really
point-
think this would benefit the people, the properties being affected, taking down the duration of the project and the invasiveness of tearing an open trench through.
Certainly, it is, and that's a reality, but there's an alternate reality also that I'll just throw out there that we've experienced in the past. There are a lot of homeowners that appreciate getting a new driveway project. And even if it's just a new apron for their driveway, you know, the portion that's in right of way. And so it's a reality. We will probably encounter that during the project, that why isn't my driveway being replaced? And this is changing that. so that it wouldn't be replaced. So there's, you know, there's different opinions of it. And this is, you know, probably worth, like you say, because of the disruption, probably worth trying. And if it's a success, do it again. If it's a disaster, don't do it again, you know.
And I think to your question, Jerry, about boring, yes, it's typically more expensive, but if this is a new process they're doing, we may be their guinea pigs that they're gonna experiment on and get through this. So I trust that we're very well covered, that if there is issues, that we're covered on that, but yeah.
So then I guess my follow-up question with that, Randy, is in the future, can we specify projects being open bore or open cut or directional board?
We probably
Good.
could alternate bid them.
Okay,
If we believe that this is successful,
yeah,
this type of project could be alternate bid.
okay.
And primarily, this type of project is in developed neighborhoods.
Mhm.
Those are tough areas to work.
Yeah,
Well, and I don't believe that we're a big guinea pig. The process has certainly been around for many years and might be new to the contractor, but it's certainly not a new practice either.
Yeah, it's been around, and you're right, it is new to this contractor. And
yeah.
I would guess that if things don't go well, there's always a fallback position to start open cutting.
Yeah.
You know, just to get that pipe in the ground.
And the precision is just amazing with directional boring.
They did that with when Western Iowa Network,
Fiber
they put
optics,
in
yeah.
that fiber optic, I mean, you know, just the track across, they had that machine went across the ground, but they came in, dug a hole, pulled the wire up, and there it was. And, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions for Randy? If not, we'll need two motions out of this, and so the first one is, for the council to authorize a work change directive number 1 in the amount of $33,786.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Katz?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
And the next motion would be to the change of the work change directive number 2 for the water distribution main replacements for the 2020 project.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Base?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Katz?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the street resurfacing 2020 HMA resurfacing with milling, change order number 1. Randy, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the street resurfacing contract was initiated, there were 3 issues encountered that required resolution by change order to the contract. The 3 issues in summary were a manhole that was bid as a 60-inch diameter manhole had to be resized to a 72-inch diameter manhole. And that was primarily just because of the physical casting requirements for that manhole location. The second was the storm sewer intake was changed from one type of intake to another. Actually, the manhole upsizing cost is about $900, but the storm sewer change is a reduction of about $1,300. And the third item was a traffic control issue. The project will use a high-performance asphalt material, and that material requires a cooling off period from its laying temperature to 150 degrees. So during that period of time that it's curing or cooling down, there can be no traffic at all on it. Our original detours, as bid, did not keep all traffic off of all lengths of both roadways. So the detours had to be reconfigured to absolutely keep traffic off during this cure period, you know, and those cure periods are half days generally. So they're not a long time, but they do impact the adjacent residents, businesses, and there's some coordination that will be sorely needed on parts of this project. But that traffic control change was an increase of $6,405. So the net effect of this proposed change order is an increase of $5,992 to a revised contract amount of $969,625.17. So unless there are any questions, we'd recommend your consideration of approval of the change order in the amount of $5,992.
Are there any questions for Randy? I thought it was pretty self-explanatory. If not, I need a motion to approve change order number 1 to the street resurfacing 2020 contract in the amount of $5,992.
So moved.
A second.
Well, there's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Base,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Fleshner,
Yes.
Cots,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Dirks.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate your time. While they get switched around, our next item, are you ready, Jack? Let's get your stuff there. Okay. Next item is the bid opening results of the cemetery mower 2020. Jack, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you tonight is the cemetery mower. We received 4 bids. Pre-bid estimate was $18,000. The low bid was Readers Red Power from Carroll, Iowa, that met all the specs, $12,000. And with that, last time we went out to bid, we were over. We had a cab on it. We took the cab off. We want to try to save that money, so here in the next month or so, we can bring the cemetery truck back that we didn't get a couple months ago, and we should have enough money if we can use to get that cemetery truck. So, any questions? The Readers, local, Carroll, did meet the specs. I think it was a 21 horsepower, 23 horsepower mower. And normally our parks, we have 72-inch, but in the cemetery, we only use 60 or 62 because they get in between the stones and the areas. It's just a smaller area for them to get in and out of on some of those stones.
It's also your rear discharge too. So not to blow onto the stones.
Yep. 24, we asked for a minimum 24 horsepower in rear discharge. Like place it. Yep. Thank you.
Do they collect the grass clippings on those, or they just let them fly?
The rear discharge lays it out real nice, especially when it's a shorter cut. It spreads it out nicely and doesn't blow it onto the stones, so they don't have to do as much blowing off and cleaning off.
What do you
Works
mean by
well.
a shorter cut? Do you mean when cutting the grass lower, or do you mean because of the 62?
The taller the grass is,
Okay.
the more it'll windrow behind the mower. But if you're cutting it very routinely like we do with the cemetery, it leaves just a beautiful
Okay.
dispersal of clippings and does a good job.
Because the grass they don't think they really ever let it get too long.
No.
And we have two people mowing all week. They start Monday morning on the north side, work their way down, and it's usually Thursday at noon they get through everything. And kind of
It's
get
open
out.
for the weekend, and
Yeah, and then they go weed
Yeah.
whip around the stones and around the edges and that on Thursdays and Fridays.
You can always get to an odd point when you're cutting maybe in a really rainy time, you cut a taller cutting with a rear discharge, it gets a little more bunched up, but it's a great trade-off for the, not getting it up on the stones or picking up a rock and throwing at a stone and hurting it. Rear discharge works great in cemeteries.
yeah. Oh. Thank you. Any other questions for Jack? Not, I need a motion to approve the bid from Reuters, Carroll, Iowa for the total cost of $12,000 for the cemetery mower.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Dirks,
Yes.
Fleshner,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Base,
Yes.
Cots.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. And the next item is the bid results for the golf course triplex T-mower and the pull behind debris blower. And Jack, please.
Put those both on the same memo because they'll both be for the golf course. The first one, July 6th, 4 bids were received at the time of the bid opening for the triplex T-mower. The low bid was Turfworks, Johnston, Iowa, for a trade difference and total cost of $21,835 on that one. And then the second one, the pull behind debris blower, we received 3 bids on that one. Adding this piece, and just for a note, adding this piece of equipment helps removes leaves, debris around the greens and tee boxes a lot quicker than what we've been doing. A lot of times get off and have to just get off the mowers and go and blow it off there that way. So this is much better timing. It'll go a lot quicker for the guys and have more times to do other things on the golf course. But the low bid was from Van Wall Equipment for $6,449.
So this will get pulled behind that mower?
Behind a tractor,
Oh, behind the tractor, okay.
another piece of
So
equipment.
they're not mowing and blowing at the same time type thing?
No.
Okay.
Jack, I'm ecstatic that we're this far below bid or below our budget, but,
Yeah.
any idea why that's such a big difference?
I don't, I'd ask, Scott, when he went to put the bids together, he usually will call the 3 companies. We just don't know what we're gonna get a lot of times on our trade-ins, but there wasn't much difference on the trade-ins. So, and that might go back into the budget for next year.
Any other questions for Jack? If not, the first one is, we'll need a motion to approve the bid from Turfworks Johnson, Iowa, for the total cost of $21,835 for the golf course triplex T-mower 2020.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Cots.
Yes.
Fleshner.
Yes.
Seaman.
Yes.
Dirks.
Yes.
Haley.
Yes.
Base.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. And then the final one is, need to approve the bid from Van Wall Equipment, Urbandale, Iowa, for the cost of $6,449 for the pull behind debris blower.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. There's no other vote, or no other questions, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Haley.
Yes.
Seaman.
Yes.
Dirks.
Yes.
Fleshner.
Yes.
Cots.
Yes.
Base.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. I trust everyone's read the committee reports. I have no comments this evening. Any comments from the council?
Mr. Mayor, I did have a gentleman approach me and wanted it brought back up to the council that we consider making it legal to ride ATVs and UTVs within the Carroll city limits. So
Okay.
just wanted to get that back out for the council to think on as we come back around to our planning session and
Yeah.
in mind.
I was talking about that with Mike about our next planning session. I think we were looking like September, trying to get something a little earlier for budgeting, so.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
They're becoming pretty common in other cities around.
They are. You're seeing them in a lot of smaller cities for
Yep.
sure. Yeah, it's something that's still out there.
Brad, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but did you have some information about that stuff too?
It did, it's a few years old now.
Yeah.
We spoke about it before.
Okay. Well, we could bring it back in that strategic planning meeting if it's something we need to look at. But, yeah,
Just wanted to get it out there for the gentleman, so it was readdressed.
thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any comments from the city manager this evening?
Not this evening.
Thank you. Thanks. Sorry about all your troubles, but hopefully we get it better next time.
Can't wait to get back to normal. This isn't gonna be fun if this is new normal.
If there's nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion and a second. No other discussion. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Base.
Yes.
Seaman.
Yes.
Fleshner.
Yes.
Dirks.
Yes.
Haley.
Yes.
Cots.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.